In a striking example of escalating tensions, an incident recently occurred in the East China Sea and shocked international waters. The event attracted worldwide attention when 6 Chinese warships blocked a U.S. aircraft carrier near the hotly contested Senkaku Islands. The boldness and scale of this action underscores the seriousness of geopolitical competition in the region, marking a key point in the ongoing conflict over territorial sovereignty. In the vast East China Sea, the mysterious Saku Islands are a silent witness to the violent diplomatic struggle between Japan and China. These isolated islands, surrounded by water but racked by geopolitical conflicts, paint a striking picture of tension and competition. Nestled within Japan's recognized jurisdiction but eagerly sought after by China, these islands bear witness to an ongoing saga of contested sovereignty amid wild and breathtaking beauty item of their landscape. In recent times, the peace surrounding these serene places was suddenly shattered by a serious incident, a daring interception involving an American aircraft carrier, a clear symbol of the stance China's increasingly assertiveness in this disputed area. The islands, enveloped in a peaceful atmosphere, have become focal points for the complex interactions between nations, where territorial claims collide against a backdrop of pristine natural beauty. The recent interception of a U.S. aircraft carrier is a stark reminder of the escalating tensions and strategic competition driving this territorial debate. It's a moment frozen in time, encapsulating the nuances of geopolitical maneuvering and fervent search for influence in a place where the struggle for control intersects with glamour. The serenity of these pristine landscapes. This interception is not an isolated event, but an important chapter in a larger story that shows how China's strategic activities are contributing to the upheaval of an already established geopolitical landscape smoldering. Its implications reverberate across the vast international sea, causing widespread concern and inviting scrutiny. Amid the calm waters of the East China Sea, a riveting story of geopolitical tensions unfolds between Japan and China, revolving around the isolated and desolate Saku Islands. This complex tapestry of diplomatic relations was recently shaken by a seismic event that sent ripples across the region's already volatile waters. Incident I: the blockade of a fleet of 6 formidable Chinese warships, an American aircraft carrier. This unprecedented event marks a significant change, the first example in many years of Chinese forces blocking a U.S. aircraft carrier in the East China Sea. The participation of 6 powerful Chinese warships in this confrontation constitutes a bold display of military power, highlighting China's unwavering determination to consolidate its territorial gains in this important but controversial area. The intercepted signal rang out like a resounding echo, a clear reminder of the escalating tensions and ongoing strategic maneuvers in this hotly contested region. Beyond the rhythmic sway of ocean waves lies a riveting story of influence, diplomacy, and a complex game of geopolitical interests. Every ripple in these waters reflects a deeper story of calculated movements, amplifying the complex web of relationships and power plays that define this vital maritime domain. This interception was not just an isolated event. It is a snapshot that captures the complex dance of nations vying for dominance and security, painting a vivid portrait of the complex and precarious dynamics that shape the region's this important part of the sea. Across the vast East China Sea, tensions are flaring and reverberating between the world's superpowers, as evidenced by the recent standoff near the Saku Islands. A storm broke out after a Chinese Coast Guard ship alarmingly sank a Japanese fishing boat. Against this tempestuous backdrop, a pivotal incident unfolded: the interception of the USS Ronald Reagan, a formidable U.S. aircraft carrier, by a flotilla of 6 Chinese warships. This tense encounter transpired within a mere 12 nautical miles, heightening an already volatile situation over the disputed Diaoyu Islands, inciting an acrimonious standoff between China and the U.S. The United States Navy swiftly voiced concern, denouncing the maneuver as a close intercept, amplifying an atmosphere of apprehension. China, however, maintains that the actions of its warships adhered to international law, asserting that routine patrols were being conducted within the region. This alarming episode also saw China dispatching fighter jets to intercept a U.S. Navy reconnaissance plane, dangerously skirting within 500 feet, aggravating an already taut situation. Such aggressive posturing, including the interception of the USS Ronald Reagan, marks the latest escalation in China's progressively assertive actions, inciting condemnation from both the US and Japan. Amidst this geopolitical turbulence, Japan's Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida condemned the intercept as a serious provocation, pledging continued cooperation with the US to ensure regional peace and stability. This alarming chain of events underscores the precariousness of maritime geopolitics, evoking concerns over potential conflicts amid the heightened posturing in the contested waters of the East China Sea. In the East China Sea, recent times have been marked by a noticeable uptick in China's military activities, characterized by frequent deployments of warships and military aircraft into this contested area. Of particular concern is China's bolstering of certain islands within the region, where the construction of military installations persists despite ongoing disputes regarding their rightful ownership. The consistent presence of Chinese naval vessels and aircraft in this maritime zone has raised eyebrows and heightened tensions among neighboring nations. The notable activities observed in the East China Sea are widely perceived as assertive moves, amplifying the existing unease and discontent surrounding the contentious territorial disputes. China's ongoing efforts involving the construction and fortification of disputed islands have significantly exacerbated an already complex geopolitical scenario, injecting fresh intensity into the debate and raising serious concerns about the stability of the region. These actions by China have become focal points in the larger narrative of territorial sovereignty, sparking debates and tensions among neighboring countries. The perceived assertiveness through infrastructure development and fortification has further entangled the intricate web of geopolitical interests, rendering the situation more intricate and volatile. The construction initiatives and bolstering of military infrastructure on disputed islands represent pivotal actions that have stirred a hornet's nest of diplomatic discord and apprehension. They serve as constant reminders of the unresolved territorial disputes, contributing substantially to the palpable tension and uncertainty prevailing in the East China Sea. In this intense context, an especially distressing incident rocked the shaky calm. An aggressive move by a Chinese Coast Guard vessel caused a Japanese fishing boat to capsize close to the disputed Saku Islands. These uninhabited islets, managed by Japan but vehemently disputed by China, continue to be a source of territorial conflict. This worrying episode, which happened on a fateful Friday, caused immense indignation in Japan and prompted an immediate criticism from the US. The fishing boat tragically sank after a planned collision between the Chinese Coast Guard vessel and the fishing boat, according to reports from Japanese officials. Thankfully, the Japanese Coast Guard saved the 7-member crew, preventing a possible humanitarian disaster. The sinking of the Japanese fishing boat is but the latest in a succession of concerning episodes that have cast a dark shadow on China's increasingly assertive actions within the East China Sea. These occurrences have roused apprehension and unease over China's aggressive posturing in the region, amplifying tensions and raising serious geopolitical concerns. The Saku Islands, which China refers to as the Diaoyu Islands, are at the center of a territorial dispute that has turned the East China Sea into a battlefield in recent years. With both countries claiming historical claims, this archipelago has become a flashpoint for friction between China and Japan, escalating an ongoing conflict that threatens to get out of hand. The situation has become more unstable due to the increased presence of Chinese Coast Guard vessels, which regularly violate Japanese-controlled waters near the Saku Islands. The Japanese fishing boat was sunk by a Chinese Coast Guard vessel, which sparked heightened geopolitical unrest. Profoundly upset by the incident, Japan promptly requested U.S. support and condemned China's actions. Japan's main ally, the United States, vehemently denounced the sinking and asked China to abide by international law. In response to China's aggression, the U.S. Navy has stepped up its presence in the East China Sea and conducted aggressive freedom of navigation operations in recent months. These calculated actions directly challenge China's territorial claims by striving to maintain the integrity of international waterways. As a stark illustration of the increasing aggression and strategic posture, the Senkaku Islands may mark a turning point in the complex dynamics of regional security and international relations. This tragic episode with the fishing boat serves as a stark reminder of the delicate and precarious geopolitical landscape, where a single incident can dramatically escalate tensions between powerful nations. The tensions brewing in the East China Sea, specifically concerning the dispute over the Saku Islands, known as the Diaoyu Islands in China, are deeply entrenched and multifaceted, with no readily apparent solution in sight. This long-standing disagreement between China and Japan over territorial claims has evolved into a highly intricate geopolitical issue, marked by historical, political, and strategic complexities. Amidst this intricate web of contentions, it's crucial for both China and Japan to exercise caution and display restraint. The situation demands a delicate and diplomatic approach to avoid any further escalation of hostilities. Each side needs to navigate the disputes with prudence, seeking peaceful resolutions and avoiding actions that might exacerbate already heightened tensions. The complexity of the Saku Islands dispute underscores the need for nuanced and diplomatic solutions. Even if a resolution may not come easily, both countries must place a high priority on communication, understanding, and adherence to international rules in order to stop any further escalation that can spark a wider conflict in the area. To keep the East China Sea stable and peaceful, a peaceful and amicable settlement is still necessary. In conclusion, the U.S. aircraft carrier being intercepted by several Chinese warships close to the Senkaku Islands epitomizes the complicated dynamics and risky actions that characterize the geopolitical environment of the East China Sea. As word of this occurrence spreads throughout the world, it brings up old debates about strategic interests, sovereignty, and the precarious balance of power in an area where every action has a profound impact on how international relations develop in the future.